Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 177. Do you? Put your backs into it, or I'll drop the lot of you in the sea. Savage did not question how Alvin expected to row his own boat if he carried out that threat. Sometimes it did not pay to think about the outcast chief. One survived better if they just kept their head down and did what they were told. And the loot gotten along the way did make up for the yelled insults and cracks against the skull. Still, Savage did wonder what Alvin hoped to accomplish. They had lost 30 men to death in that cursed Burkian swamp. Those left when Savage convinced Alvin to run were probably all dead as well. The remaining outcast members were now shoved into the only working boat they had after something tore the others they brought up to kindle. Still, Alvin ordered them to not return to the island and regroup. They had sailed north, away from Burke, and landed upon a small island used for stopovers by various ships ploughing the Lane seas. A sister island lay to the southeast of the one they used. They had just been ready to leave the island when a scout noticed several dragons and humans land upon the sister island. That too were Night Furies explained who and where they had come from. Alvin had ordered they be followed or else. That the group took many breaks, and Savage did expect it was due to 3 little ones flying with them, aided the outcast in keeping up with them. Savage did not want to know what would happen if they lost any of them. He was getting a glimpse of that now. Too many days and nights upon the sea. Too little rest due to a pacing chief, who muttered while his men tried to sleep. The scout assigned to watching where the dragons and humans flew away from the last stop had fallen asleep, and only awoke as the last tail could be seen slipping into the clouds. That he had the smarts to see what direction they left was the only reason he had not been gutted where he stood. That and Alvin did not need to row at all, and they needed the men on the oars. Not for the first time, Savage wondered just why he did not let his exiled sail ship right past Outside Island the day his chief had physically kicked him off his birth island. There were better places and better chiefs out there. There had to be better loot for him to take and better gold to be made. Somehow there had to be a way Savage could do all that he loved to do. Fight, steal, intimidate, and attack those weaker than him, without a leader bent on getting everyone killed. As he felt his shoulders scream due to the rowing, Savage vowed that if a chance ever arose where he could be free of Alvin, he would gladly take it and whistle a merry tune while doing it. "You just wish to see magic performed again," Toothless's mother muttered. Toothless's father snorted. "So? Onyx Wing Rider never performed any when he would have had a chance to visit. I'm glad Elder Geeter is so amenable." Hiccup frowned as he remembered that Onyx had said that he came and went from the nest often. That would make sense for Onyx Rider to visit as well. This did explain why Toothless's parents were so quick to begin using the named dragons' names, especially Shadewing and Hazia. That the human never did magic when he visited also explained why Toothless's father was so giddy that Geeter agreed to his request. Hiccup did wonder why Onyx's rider refused to, though. Hiccup glanced at Onyx Wing, sitting with the riders and their dragons. The dragon appeared joyful, smiling as he stared up at the alpha pair. Hiccup saw through that. Onyx's sensing lobes lay flat against his skull, and his wings drooped. Hiccup suspected the dragon felt the same separation the bonded dragon spoke of feeling when they were at the hatchery. Hiccup also suspected Onyx felt the gaping hole in his soul, as Hookfang described the sensation, far more keenly than the others due to the length of time he had been bonded to his rider. This did cause Hiccup to wonder where the rider was, and why he did not accompany Onyx, and wonder why Sunburn's rider was absent as well. "Son, will you allow your mage to unlock this human's ability to understand us?" Toothless's father's voice pulled Hiccup from his thoughts. His gaze shifted to the alpha pair. "May I ask him if he would like to gain this ability, Alpha of the Nest?" he asked, purposefully putting the title in there instead of saying Dad. Skulder did not know Hiccup had been adopted by the dragons. To say the word Dad right now would invite questions Hiccup was not ready to answer. He had not said a word to Skulder about being the Alpha of Burke's dragons, or that Toothless was a blood prince of this nest, and his parents named Hiccup as Flock as well. Those were deep subjects, and those Hiccup did trust Skulder not to abuse the gift of speaking with dragons. Hiccup did not trust the man enough to reveal everything. At least, Not yet. It had been 3 years since he last saw the man, after all. Who knew what had happened to him in that time? Dad, hiccup. Toothless's father said with a grin playing around his muzzle. And please. Hiccup grinned as well before turning to Scolder. Would you like to understand the dragons? To be able to converse with them? Scolder blinked. You can teach me how to understand those growls? Hiccup shook his head. It's not something that's taught. It's an ability unlocked by magic. Does it hurt? No. Unlocking memories hurt because the mind experienced a flood it was not prepared for. According to Steinar, having Gita unlock this gave the same sensation to the mind as the hand experienced when a key turned in a lock. Hiccup had to take the man's word for it. In Gita's cave, none had known anything that had happened until Shadowfire spoke for the first time. When Gita and her family arrived on Berg, the pain of the memory flood had overridden any sensation of the ability being unlocked again. Then please, Scolder said, I'm certain dragons have so much to teach us about history. I'm eager to know if they could help me on my quest. Hiccup smiled as Scolder's first thought had been to seek aid from the dragons, and not to exploit them or take advantage of them by using this ability. At least that part of his old friend had not changed. Hiccup then looked up and gestured to Gita. She tipped her head, but it was Moondust she rode down the ledge and not Shadowfire. Hiccup frowned as Moondust landed. Gita stepped off and shook herself, bowed to Hiccup, and then moved closer over to Scolder. The cavern's too narrow, and the ledge too small for Shadowfire to land safely, Toothless said softly. Hiccup watched Gita place her hands on either side of Scolder's head, as Toothless explained. He heard her whispering the same words she used when unlocking Steinar and Hilda's ability. This time Hiccup did understand them, and he grinned. That the spell needed a statement as simple as heart to heart, mind to mind, ears open to hear, soul open to understand, in order to work, still amazed Hiccup. And now I stand as flock to Elder Gita, Moondust said, pulling Hiccup's attention, so her bond with Shadowfire does not harm her like it did Lady Estrid. Elder Gita just feels the resistance she spoke of that day. Gita stepped back, lowering her hand. She faced Hiccup and bowed to him again. Hiccup glanced at Toothless. Toothless gave his version of a lifted eyebrow and glanced to Moondust. Spitfire, up on the ledge with her parents and Shadewing, snorted. Hey, one of you talk to the human. They don't all bite. Scolder gasped. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. So, yeah, they're just unlocking his ability. I like how polite he is. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and, for crying out loud, you guys know the drill. Bye.